Hello, my name is David Daniel Ball, and these are the headlines for Sunday, the 8th of March, 2009. Pacific Brands pays $500,000 to sponsor Melbourne Fashion Festival. Emergency services brace for Category 5 cyclone Hamish. Palestinian PM Salam Fayyad resigns. Manly may stay down. Brett Stewart over sexual assault claims. Cyclone Hamish could mirror Larry's devastation, says Ms. Bly, who's desperate to appear useful during an election campaign. Car bomb kills 11 in Pakistan police. Melbourne tremor, one of the 3 to hit Australia in one day. Morgan Tsvangirai's wife dies in car crash. Guantanamo said to be worse since Obama was elected. Buttrose drug arrest has A-list nervous. NRL ads halted after sex assault claim. Dying reality TV star christened with sons. And in comments from Piers Akerman, Turnbull brevity beating rambling Rudd. The battle between Prime Minister Kevin Rudd and opposition leader Malcolm Turnbull has, until now, been lopsided. Word work from Tim Blair, nothing involving the combined powers of Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden could ever go wrong. Secretary of State Hillary Rodham Clinton, in a greeting, Sergei V. Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, presented him with a red plastic button emblazoned with the English word reset and the Russian word peregruzhka. The gift was a play on Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr.'s call in Munich last month for the two countries to press the reset button on their relationship. "We worked hard to get the right Russian word," Mrs. Clinton said, handing the button to Mr. Lavrov. "Do you think we got it?" "You got it wrong," he replied, explaining that the Americans had come up with the Russian word for overcharged. Post-vaporized, the Lancet reports people in Gaza described a silent bomb which is extremely destructive. The bomb arrives as a silent projectile at most with a whistling sound and creates a large area where all the objects and living things are vaporized with minimal trace. We're unable to fit this into conventional weapons, but the possibility of a new particle weapon being tested should be suspected. And the Lancet retracts. "We have taken down the blog post The Wounds of Gaza because of factual inaccuracies." From Andrew Bolt, the real plastic turkey. Still on that magic button, imagine the sneering if George Bush had made such an elementary howler. Any other important buttons around the finger of the Obama administration that need their labels corrected? Sir, that lunch button you pressed actually has a missing A. The Pacific Brands state Victoria's sliding fastest, and not just because of the credit crisis. Treasurer John Lenders last year assured Victorians that the economy was robust, but new jobs started to drop away rapidly from July, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics labour force surveys. In December, the state went into negative territory with 5,400 fewer jobs in December 2008 compared to December 2007. Victoria was the only state to lose jobs in 2008. Labour economists point to a double-barreled assault on Victoria's employment, the global downturn, and a long-term loss of manufacturing jobs to developing countries such as China, where workers are paid less and companies can produce goods cheaply. Batty priorities. What a shame Kevin Rudd will have spent all our money and more on pink bats, free cash handouts, and public housing instead. Australia is facing a looming transport crisis, with highways and arterial roads set to be choked with thousands of extra cars, trucks, buses and motorcycles. The report by the federally funded Bureau of Infrastructure, Transport and Regional Economics predicted Australians will be driving 55.8 billion kilometres a year on the non-urban part of the national road network by 2030, 50% further away than now. Average daily traffic levels on the roads connecting Melbourne with the regional centres will increase 57% by 2030. Keating savages Obama's fool. Former Prime Minister Paul Keating has a problem with Barack Obama's Treasury Secretary, Tim Geithner. He's the gigantic fool who helped create the greatest mess the IMF ever made. It's the hypocrisy, Glenn. Glenn Milne attacks Malcolm Turnbull for what he in fact did not do. What on earth is Malcolm Turnbull thinking? As jobs burn all over the Australian landscape, as doubts emerge over whether the government's cash splash has done anything more than plunge Australia into deficit for the coming decade and burden the next generation with debt for naught, Turnbull does what? He attacks not only Kevin Rudd, but Rudd's admirably independent and successful wife, Theresa Rain, for being rich. False. Turnbull actually praised Rain. He said, "I congratulate the Rudds, especially Theresa Rain, on their success." He merely made the utterly reasonable point that Rudd is a hypocrite to mock Turnbull for being rich and to suddenly attack the neoliberalism that has so benefited his own family. But what are we to think of the wealthiest Prime Minister Australia has ever had? A man greatly enriched by the privatisation and outsourcing of government services, standing up again and again to denounce the very policies from which he and his family have profited so extensively. It is more than a bit rich, it is hypocritical. As chutzpah as his essay is absurd. And to underline Rudd's hypocrisy, here's Milne's own news story today. Theresa Rain, the wife of Prime Minister Kevin Rudd, earned at least $1.4 million last year, almost $1 million of which came from share bonuses from her company, Ingeus. That means Rain earns around the same as Sue Morfitt, the head of Pacific Brands and target of a vicious smear campaign from the Rudd government and the ACTU, which called her wage obscene. The kind of hero Obama's Democrats love best. Name this statesman and hero who has become a fated advisor to the Barack Obama administration. Mr. X became the second member of his team to talk to Obama about policy. Mr. X was promoting his plan to create safe, cheap, green housing in the lower 9th Ward of New Orleans as a national model. He held separate meetings with Sean Donovan, Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, and Stephen Chu, Energy Secretary, before being feted as a hero by Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House of Representatives on Capitol Hill. Is Mr. X A, soldier statesman John McCain? B, General Storeman Norman Schwarzkopf? C, former Secretary of State and War General Colin Powell? D, General David Petraeus, the war-winning architect of the Iraq surge? Or E, actor Brad Pitt? Hint, it's the actor. Feed the hungry, crank up your thermostat. ABC Radio says at least there'll be plenty to eat at Armageddon. Research carried out by the Department of Primary Industries in Victoria has shown that wheat crop yields could jump by up to 20% under global warming. Too much even for The Lancet, after all. I linked last month to a bizarre post on Lancet's Global Health Journal by 2 British surgeons advocating we hire soldiers to fight Israel. The people of Gaza are extremely vulnerable and defenseless in the event of another attack. If the international community is serious about preventing such a large scale of deaths and injuries in the future, it will have to develop some sort of defense force for Gaza. This article, which remained online for a month, also described, among other things, an evil Israeli weapon not known to science. People in Gaza described a silent bomb which is extremely destructive. The bomb arrives as a silent projectile at most with a whistling sound, and so on and so on and so on. Lancet now publishes a retraction which contains another unbelievable claim. We have taken down the blog post The Wounds of Gaza because of factual inaccuracies. We would like to point out that our editorial decision process to post blog entries and their comments on the Lancet Global Health Network is very different from our rigorous peer review process in the Lancet and thelancet.com. We want to encourage debate and see the Lancet Global Health Network as a good forum to do this. We do not endorse any particular side of a debate and so post a range of views and comments. Maybe a range from the left. I'd be suspicious too. It will be symbolically true even if it turns out to be literally so. Zimbabwe's Prime Minister Morgan Tsvangirai was injured and his wife Susan was killed in a car crash late on Friday, party officials confirmed, adding that suspicious circumstances could indicate foul play.